Tokyo's streets were buzzing with excitement on Halloween night, October 31st, 2021. People dressed in vibrant costumes, the sound of laughter and joy filling the air. Among the crowd, however, was a man dressed as the Joker, and he was harboring a sinister plan. As the Keio train sped through Tokyo, what began as an ordinary evening would soon descend into chaos and terror. At approximately 8 p.m., Kyota Hattori launched a brutal attack, stabbing a fellow passenger with a knife before setting fire to the train carriage. The festive atmosphere turned into a nightmare, and the screams of passengers reverberated through the train. By the time emergency services arrived, the attack had left several people injured, with the intent behind the violence soon revealed to be both shocking and deliberate. Welcome to Hell is Empty. If you like true crime, then please consider subscribing. The Joker is one of the most iconic and enduring villains in comic book history, symbolizing chaos, madness, and rebellion. The Joker is someone who defies the rules of society and revels in causing destruction, often without any clear motive beyond the sheer joy of watching the world burn. The Joker's unpredictability is what makes him such a terrifying character. The Joker has been portrayed by numerous actors across different media, with notable portrayals including Jack Nicholson, Heath Ledger, and most recently, Joaquin Phoenix. Jack Nicholson's version leaned into the theatrical side of the character, while Heath Ledger's portrayal was darker, portraying the Joker as a terrorist-like figure who sought to dismantle Gotham's social order for the thrill of it. Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, on the other hand, presented a more psychologically complex version of the character, focusing on his descent into madness as a result of social neglect, mental illness, and economic despair. Kyota Hattori reportedly admired Joker, which came out in 2019. Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal of Arthur Fleck, a mentally ill man driven to violence after being ignored and mistreated, struck a chord with people like Hattori, who felt similarly isolated. Fleck's transformation into the Joker is not just a descent into villainy, it's a reaction to a world that failed him. For Hattori, this message of rejection and retaliation was powerful, leading him to embrace the character. In Hattori's case, his isolation and sense of failure were compounded by the societal pressure to succeed in a highly structured competitive environment. Japan places a strong emphasis on conformity, work ethic, and social responsibility. For those who fall outside of these expectations, like Hattori, there can be a deep sense of failure and shame. The cultural stigma surrounding mental health issues and seeking help for them further exacerbates these feelings, leaving individuals like Hattori with few outlets for their pain. The Joker, in contrast, represents a rejection of these societal expectations. He is a figure who thrives on chaos and disorder, who laughs in the face of the very structure that Hattori felt was suffocating him. Dressing as the Joker on the night of the attack, Hattori was making a statement. He was stepping outside of the societal rules that had rejected him and embracing the chaos that the Joker so fully embodies. Kyota Hattori had spent months planning the attack. He meticulously chose Halloween night, recognizing the anonymity afforded by the holiday's costumes that would help him blend into the crowds. It was a typical Sunday night in Tokyo, and for many, Halloween was an opportunity to break away from the daily routine. Hundreds of passengers boarded the Keio Line express train headed for Shinjuku Station, a major hub in the city. Shinjuku is the heart of Tokyo's entertainment and shopping districts, making it an ideal place for people to enjoy Halloween festivities, wear colourful costumes, and celebrate the night with friends. However, Hattori had different plans. Before boarding the train, Hattori meticulously prepared his costume, dressing in a purple suit, green shirt, and a matching tie. He wore makeup to complete the transformation into the clown-faced villain. Hattori also came equipped with tools and destruction. He carried a kitchen knife and several bottles filled with lighter fluid, all carefully hidden within his bag. His plan was to cause maximum harm and draw as much attention as possible to his final act, hoping that the notoriety would result in his execution. He later admitted that his goal was to be sentenced to death, and he believed that causing such a public spectacle would ensure that outcome. As the express train neared its destination, just around 8 p.m., Hattori made his move. He calmly pulled out the knife and began his assault. His first target was a 72-year-old man seated near him. Without warning, Hattori lunged at the elderly man, stabbing him in the chest multiple times. The attack was swift and brutal, leaving the man severely injured. What followed was sheer chaos. As passengers realized what was happening, panic swept through the train cars. The sight of Hattori in his Joker costume, with a bloodied knife in his hand, only amplified the fear. Some passengers screamed, while others tried to move away from the scene as quickly as possible. But on a moving train, there was nowhere to run. Amid the panic, Hattori wasn't finished. After stabbing the man, he began pouring the lighter fluid across the seat and floor of the train car. He then ignited the fluid, setting a blaze inside the train as it sped towards Shinjuku. Thick black smoke began to fill the train car, choking the passengers and causing even more confusion and terror. With the fire spreading and the attack underway, passengers scrambled to escape. The express train, which had limited stops and no way to disembark easily, trapped the victims in what felt like a death trap. Many rushed to the adjoining train cars, hoping to put as much distance between themselves and the attacker as possible. Some passengers tried to break the train's windows to escape the smoke and fire, using whatever they could find: bags, shoes, and even their bare hands. Videos taken by witnesses show the train's interior filled with smoke, the panicked cries of passengers, and Hattori calmly sitting in the midst of the chaos. In one particularly chilling video, Hattori can be seen sitting cross-legged, casually smoking a cigarette as flames spread around him, seemingly detached from the terror he had caused. His demeanor, eerily calm and collected, echoed the nihilistic portrayal of the Joker character that he had embraced. Amid the chaos, there were moments of heroism. One man who was initially targeted by Hattori managed to shield others from the attack, pushing them to safety while attempting to slow Hattori down. This selfless act likely saved lives, giving other passengers precious moments to escape. As the train approached Kokuryo Station, the emergency services were alerted to the unfolding situation. Train operators, alerted by the sound of chaos and smoke, made the decision to stop the train as soon as it reached the platform. When the train doors finally opened, a flood of passengers poured out onto the platform, many coughing from the smoke, while others were in shock from the violence they had just witnessed. In the panic, some passengers even jumped out of the train windows, desperate to escape the thick smoke and potential danger. Others ran down the platform, scared for their lives. By the time the police arrived, Hattori was still inside the train, casually sitting in his seat as if waiting to be apprehended. He made no effort to resist arrest. When the police approached, Hattori admitted to the attack immediately. He told them that his goal had been to kill as many people as possible and to be sentenced to death for his actions. He also expressed disappointment that he had not succeeded in taking more lives. His calm demeanor in the face of such horror was chilling. Hattori was completely unremorseful, viewing the attack as a necessary step towards his ultimate goal, death by execution. The immediate aftermath of the attack left a trail of physical and psychological scars. The 72-year-old man who was stabbed in the chest was rushed to hospital in critical condition. Miraculously, despite the severity of his injuries, he survived after receiving emergency surgery. Other passengers suffered from smoke inhalation and minor injuries as they attempted to flee the train. The attack left the people of Tokyo, and indeed Japan as a whole, in shock. Violent crimes of this nature are rare in Japan, a country with some of the strictest gun control laws and relatively low rates of violent crime. This idea that such an attack could happen on a busy train line in the heart of Tokyo during a popular celebration like Halloween was deeply unsettling. As news of the attack spread, the focus quickly shifted to understanding what had driven Hattori to commit such a horrific crime. His calm demeanor, coupled with his Joker costume, led many to draw comparisons to the character he idolized. But as details of his personal struggles and mental health issues came to light, it became clear that this was more than just an attempt to emulate a fictional villain. It was the tragic culmination of Hattori's internal battle with his own feelings of isolation, depression, and despair. In his initial statements to police, Hattori explained that he had failed in life and saw no way out other than death. However, instead of taking his own life, he had decided to commit to a heinous crime, believing that it would result in a death sentence. His calm demeanor, both during and after the attack, suggested that he had fully resigned himself to his fate. Public reaction was swift and filled with fear and outrage. There were immediate calls for increased security on public transportation, with many questioning how such an attack could have happened. The government responded by tightening security measures across the Tokyo transit system, particularly during holidays and major events. Kyota Hattori's trial for the Tokyo train attack was highly anticipated, drawing attention from across Japan. During the proceedings, Hattori admitted to the charges against him, expressing no remorse for his actions. He maintained that his goal was to be sentenced to death, stating that he had wanted to kill as many people as possible and was disappointed that he had failed to do so. Hattori faced charges of attempted murder, arson, and endangering public safety. His defense team argued that he was suffering from severe mental illness at the time of the attack, and that his actions were driven by his desire for death. Hattori himself expressed no desire to defend his actions, repeatedly stating that he wished to be executed. Despite his desire for execution, the court did not immediately grant him that wish. Japan has strict guidelines for the death penalty, usually reserving it for cases involving multiple murders. Since Hattori had only severely injured one individual, this complicated his desire for capital punishment. However, given the severity and premeditation of the crime, along with the public danger it posed, prosecutors sought the harshest penalty. During the trial, there was also considerable discussion regarding Hattori's mental health. His defense team attempted to argue that his mental state played a significant role in his actions, hoping to reduce the severity of the punishment. However, psychiatric evaluations determined that, while Hattori did have mental health issues, he was fully aware of his actions at the time of the attack and had planned them meticulously, with the clear intent to harm and kill. In December 2022, Hattori was sentenced to life in prison. The court took into account the fact that he had not succeeded in killing anyone, though the gravity of his intentions and the terror he caused were emphasized during sentencing. The life sentence reflected Japan's stance on violent crime, ensuring Hattori would never walk free again, but stopping short of the death penalty he sought. In the wake of the attack, Japan implemented several changes to its public transport system to prevent future incidents. Security on trains and in stations were increased, with more surveillance and police presence during high-traffic times, especially around holidays. While the Joker provided a symbolic framework for Hattori's actions, his deeper motivation stemmed from a profound sense of personal failure and a desire to end his life. For Hattori, his isolation, combined with his untreated mental health issues, created a perfect storm that led to the violent outburst on Halloween night. The Joker character, while influential, was ultimately a manifestation of Hattori's deeper struggles, not the root cause of the attack.